And welcome into another episode of the Pain and Panic podcast, a show that's had a very, very fun week. Chris watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, I believe, is the show
I
you
did. I
watched.
finished that show.
Yeah,
I
I saw the
suffered through
video.
it. I have a lot of thoughts.
I saw the video. I will save that for your letterboxd and other things like that. But I mean, we could do off season. Maybe we'll get into some shows like that. Just not right now. We have things.
It's actually perfect that they released that show on Wednesday because that's like the most boring day
Mm-hmm.
usually. So no football Wednesday. Woke up, Summer Turned Pretty, had all my thoughts about it. Great time. Now we're up to football.
Yeah, I'm dying right now. I'm watching Peacemaker. Comes out Thursday at 9 o'clock. I'm a little busy on Thursdays at 9 o'clock, so I have to watch it on Fridays. But it's on HBO Max, so it makes it work. But another Thursday night game in the books was a lot more competitive than Chris and I thought it was going to be. The Dolphins hung in there, had an opportunity to tie the game in the fourth quarter, but a bad Tua interception helped put the nail in the coffin, and the Bills get the win to move to 3-0, 31-21. The Dolphins fall to 0-3. Chris, we actually didn't have any time allotted out for us to talk about this game because we didn't think there'd be much to talk about. Little stories, the Dolphins were way more competitive than we thought. Their defense looked horrible in the first half, showed up a little bit in the second half, but when they had opportunities to make plays, they really kind of kept Tua on a very short leash today. I thought Mike McDaniel made that very, very clear with all the quick, short passes, just getting the ball out. And at the end of the game, came down to a play in the red zone, and he made a costly mistake that ended up helping the Bills get to 3-0.
Yeah, it really seemed like the Dolphins kind of had a bounce-back game in terms of how they played. And I know they showed life against the Patriots, but they looked pretty good offensively against the Bills. And if you're playing against a Dolphin in fantasy football and PPR, it's the worst thing in the world. I'm watching Jalen Waddle have 2 catches for 0 yards and a touchdown. He has 8 points, and it's just so frustrating. Tua's throwing the ball 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then the guy gets a point for the reception. He gets -2 yards. Tua did not throw the ball downfield at all, basically. A little bit in the game, probably had a little bit more room to throw once they were trailing, but we just wanted to record this game early, Adam, and of course, fate did not let us because that's what happens every game. But you know what? I'm happy we got a good game out of it. We're going to draft our least favorite or our least exciting primetime games coming up later this season. So this one actually wasn't that bad. The Dolphins at least have an offense. I'm curious what they do with Mike McDaniel because if they were going to fire him, this would be the best time to do it. They played on Thursday. You're going to have a longer week, and also they play next week on Monday. So this is the most time you could possibly have without the bye week. So if they're going to fire him maybe this week, if not, then the bye week, or they just keep him the full year.
Yeah, I could see him keep him because there were some signs, like the team didn't just go out and quit, because it would have been easy for them to roll out and say, we're not going anywhere, and just roll out, play Buffalo, and let them run all over you the way they did to the Jets. They did compete, so I think maybe that helps that he hasn't completely lost the locker room. The owner gave him some sign of support and said, we're not getting rid of him unless, the fans stop showing up, and it seems like he's lost the locker room. Doesn't seem that's happened yet. Well, they were on the road, so it's hard to say the fans aren't showing up. We'll see. As you said, they're on Monday night next week. Home game against the Jets, so it is a winnable game for the Dolphins, which is important. If they were able to steal that game, you're looking at it like they beat the Jets and get to 2-2, maybe they could do something, but now at 0-3, it seems like there's only been, I think, 6 teams in the history of the NFL that have made the playoffs after starting 0-3. So
yeah, and none of those, and just, you're not going to win your division. There's zero chance. I feel like your best chance would be if you're in a bad division, but you're not going to beat the Bills, and I think next week kind of might be that do or die game, because if you lose to the Jets, who knows who their quarterback is going to be that week? Probably Justin Fields if he's back. But if you lose that, that's your first real winnable game that they lost. I guess they could have won. They probably should have won week 1, but week 1, whatever. Week 2, okay, lost to the Patriots. The Patriots might be their level. And Bills, they competed. But maybe next week would be that real judgment day for the Dolphins.
Yeah. Tyreek looked a little upset on the sidelines. I don't know what's going to happen there.
What else is new?
I mean, he's really killing his trade value with this off the field stuff. I mean, that they're bringing it up coming out of a commercial break. First time I've ever seen that. Like pregame stuff, you see it.
What else is new?
Yeah. I mean, no, like it doesn't surprise me. Like you should talk about it, but the timing of it was something I had never seen in an NFL game. Coming out of a commercial break, like in the fourth quarter, it's like, okay, like it's a huge deal, and it's something that the NFL for sure has to look into. But that's a pregame talk, postgame talk, maybe early in the first quarter. But like the timing just caught, I think, a lot of people off guard. Like, whoa!
It was also an important part of the game, so like everyone was watching, and my mom was like, "Wait, what did he do?" She's like, I don't like him anymore. I'm like, this is not new information.
No,
Like,
no. The
yeah,
stuff he did in college was way worse than what I'm just assuming. I haven't read everything into what he did now, but the stuff he did in college was absolutely horrible and should never happen.
yeah,
Um,
weird timing definitely, because like
yeah,
whole part of the game, and you're talking about personal off the field issues, which was a little
that's
strange.
they had just got the ball to try to drive down and tie the game, and that's when they Tua ended up throwing the pick on that drive. Like it was a huge point in the game. All right, so let's lean into it. As Chris and I said, we did not have high hopes for this game. We thought it was one of the worst primetime games we were going to see. Was very entertaining, as we said, was way more entertaining than the last primetime game we had, not including the Monday night doubleheader, but the Sunday night game. And then I think you can even throw the Raiders-Chargers game in there that wasn't, very, very entertaining either. Games starting at 10 p.m. is not going to be fun for people like us who live on the East Coast. But
A boring game to stay up for.
yes, yeah, when the quarterback throws a pick on the first play, it ends up in a field goal and not even a touchdown. It's definitely not the start you're hoping for. But now we're going to go into this. We're going to draft reach drafting 4, so kind of a Mount Rushmore for us, or a Hall of Shame, if you would say. Maybe us begging the NFL execs to say, let's flex some of these games out if we can. Chris, I'll be generous. I will give you the first pick in this draft. You want a snake, or you just want to go back and forth like a normal?
We'll just go back and forth.
Yeah, I figured that's easier. So
Yeah,
yep,
two
you can have
people.
first pick.
Let's go back and forth. This is a tough one, and I honestly, the issue for me is that like the Dolphins have so many primetime games this year. I don't want to just be mean to the Dolphins, but it's a little ridiculous. I'm actually gonna go a different direction though. Week 12, Panthers at 49ers. Who wanted this game? I don't understand. We're going to have Brock Purdy, assuming he's back with the Niners, assuming the Niners are healthy. They're going to destroy the Panthers. And if the Niners aren't healthy, who wants to watch an injured Niners team play Bryce Young? Bryce Young, honestly, I know he was the number 1 pick, but he's not an exciting player. He's not an interesting guy, and he doesn't play that well, or that exciting even. So I'm confused. They're my number 1 pick. I will have to watch that game, but I'm not excited to watch it. And the Niners are the only watchable team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that it was on my list. I think one thing it could be, a Niners showcase if they're in first place in the NFC West, and maybe the Panthers could pull off an upset. I remember it for all the wrong reasons, but the Jags played the Bengals when the Jags were 8-3, and the Bengals, there was a year Jake Browning was playing a bunch, and the Bengals actually won that game, and the Jags completely fell apart off after Trevor got hurt and finished 9-8. But, it's maybe one of those games potentially. But yeah, on paper right now through 2 weeks, does not look fun for, that game. My first pick, we already talked about it. I'm going Jets-Dolphins.
Yeah.
It could be fun, but it's another doubleheader day. They have Broncos-Bengals is another game on that day. I don't think it's starting as late. Maybe I'll check here. They're starting at 8:15, so these actually be going on at the same time. So you do get the breathe of just don't watch the ESPN game and watch the ABC game. So, I mean, you could do that, and I think that's what most people are going to do, and just watch Bengals-Broncos instead. But yeah, Jets-Dolphins does not look fun right now. Maybe the Dolphins can have some fun. The Jets had that great week 1, but if the team that showed up in week 2 is the team that shows up in week 1, is going to be a long game to watch if you decide to tune into that one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I did not pick it because I feel like that's like the Dolphins is like must-win game for Mike McDaniel, so I'm a little bit more interested in it, but that was also definitely on my board. Next one for me, there are some good options, honestly, and it's really tough because some of them I just think are going to be blowouts, and other ones are just like two teams I don't want to watch. Next one I'm going to go with, though, Raiders at Broncos, Week 10. I don't think I could care less about the Raiders anymore after that Chargers-Raiders game. I have Ashton Genty in fantasy football, and watching that game, wanting him to get the ball, but him getting hit behind the line of scrimmage every time he got it was so frustrating. And I'm assuming the Broncos will be good by then, so I'm assuming this will be a blowout. I'm assuming the Raiders and Geno Smith aren't going to be looking great. So I'm assuming it's a boring blowout, and the Raiders aren't that fun of a team, because it's not like they're throwing the ball downfield. A lot of these teams have bad defenses, but at least they have a good offense, like the Dolphins. That's why, I think the Raiders are less watchable than the Dolphins.
Man, you just said the Broncos are going to be good at this time. You just sold them last week. You have Broncos fans in our mentions. Now you're the bad guy. I'm still the good guy. You're the bad guy.
Side note, Broncos fans have been the meanest by far any
Yeah,
fan base. That
yeah.
is crazy.
We posted the Dolphins one today. Actually, it's a very good conversation. See, that's what we want in the chat. We don't want hate
Yeah.
out there. The very good conversation about what's going to happen. What's the trade value of Tyreek Hill? Like, there was a lot of good stuff there.
I think the Dolphin fans know. They can accept the reality. But when you go after a good team and say they're not as good as they think, they go at you. But that's my pick number 2 is Raiders at Broncos week 10.
All right. My next one, I'm going to go to week 13. This is Thanksgiving. So like a fun weekend of football. And everyone really loves when this weekend comes around. But then there's a Monday night game that week. Giants Patriots. So, yeah, that one's going on my list. There is hope that maybe by this time we do have Jackson Dart in, which could make things more interesting depending how that goes once he gets in the game. But, yeah, does not look good. I don't think either of these teams are going to be anywhere near the playoff. This could be one of the primetime games where you see, the 4-win Giants versus the 5-win Patriots. And everyone's like, man, we had this great Thanksgiving Thursday, and we have now played the whole weekend out. It's rivalry week in college football, so you have some big games there, and then we get to the end of it, and it's Giants-Patriots. And everyone will be like, it was fun while it lasted, everybody. Now we're back to reality. It's a work week.
Honestly, I saw that week and I thought those games were decent enough. And I just think it's hard for them when they are going to give 3 primetime games on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes the other ones weaker. I'm kind of excited for that game because I'm assuming Jackson Dart is starting. So if there's a rookie, I'm kind of excited. But I can see if that game is bad, it will be ugly bad, and you will not want to watch.
Yep. There's a chance it's really fun. There's also a chance it's like 13-6, and it's pulling teeth out to watch it.
Speaking of pulling teeth, let's talk about jabbing forks in my eyeballs. Dolphins at Steelers week 15. I don't want to watch that one. It is going to be maybe the Dolphins as we know them, but I'm assuming they will be dismantled by then. Going up against the end of season Aaron Rodgers, I'm assuming the Steelers season has kind of fallen apart by now. And I think there actually is going to be offense in this game because the Dolphins don't have a defense, and the Steelers' defense doesn't look like it used to be, and the Dolphins have a good offense. But, there's not a lot of guys I'm excited to see on either team. There's no one really crazy. The most interesting one is Tyreek Hill, and I don't think he's going to be on the Dolphins anymore. So, give me Dolphins at Steelers. I think that game is going to have 0 playoff implications, and it's late in the season when probably one of the teams has fallen apart.
Yep, it was on my list. There is some hope. Again, we're doing this in week 2, so maybe the Steelers end up being, somewhat competitive in the AFC North with the Bengals falling off. We don't know. Maybe they're fighting for a wild card spot. But yeah, it was on my list. It was definitely on my list. My next pick, I'm staying in this week. Giants Chiefs.
Wow, that was on my board.
Yeah, I got Giants Chiefs here. Back-to-back Giants picks for me. Look, I love the Chiefs. They're so good. But sometimes they're not fun to watch. I'm hoping, especially Xavier Worthy plays, maybe that'll add some things. The Giants were fun last week, but that was against the Cowboys defense. Now they're going to play a real defense in Kansas City. I think it's going to be more low scoring. It's a must-win game for Kansas City, so we'll see what they can do. But yeah, I mean, it's on my list here, and that's where I'm going. I don't think it's going to be the most fun game to watch, especially after we have a really good 1 o'clock window this week. We'll get into that during picks. But the Sunday night game, Monday night's going to be electric. But the 4 o'clock games, the game of the week for America is Bears, Cowboys, which will be a lot of points. But yeah, Giants, Chiefs here on Sunday night, I think is just a weird spot for these two teams.
Yeah, I actually think the only hope I have is that Russ comes out and he's cooking like he was for most of that Cowboys game. And he could put up some yards, and the Chiefs have to actually put in some offense. And I think they're right. I don't think... And the Chiefs must win. They're 0-2 right now, so this is really a must-win game for them. And their schedule is pretty difficult this season. So I feel like we're going to get the best from the Chiefs. So I have hope this one will be watchable, but I understand where you're coming from, Adam.
Yeah.
Now, last for me, this is my last pick. I'm looking at a few. The issue is... With the Bengals, I was thinking about them, but with Jake Browning, those games are kind of always crazy, and the Bengals are always kind of fun crazy. So I'm not gonna pick it. There's 2. All right, this one's really tough, Adam. There's 2 of mine
today, Junior.
So all right, fine. Ravens at Miami, week 9. I'm sorry. I think that's gonna be like today, but worse for the Dolphins because I think this is one of the best Dolphins performances we're gonna get. I do not think in week 9 the Dolphins are going to be do anything crazy. I will be watching because I do love watching the Ravens. I think Derrick Henry's a lot of fun. Lamar Jackson's a lot of fun. I love it when Mark Andrews can't catch a pass anymore. So I'm very interested in one side of the ball. I'm assuming, though, on the other side, the Dolphins are going to be pretty much done. This will be a boring blowout.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. That was on my list. If you didn't take it, I was, because I just think it's going to be a blowout.
Yep.
My next one, I'm going back to Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Somehow.
wow.
2 games in Thanksgiving weekend, but I'm going to Black Friday. Bears, Eagles.
I did not realize that was a primetime game.
Yeah, it's Black Friday, 3:00. So
Dang
it's a
you.
standalone. That's why I took it. It's because it's
Yeah.
standalone. There's no other games.
That's
on.
fair. It's fair.
I thought about the London games. Some of the London games are fun. There's some that it's overseas, so anything.
I don't count those as primetime because no one's awake for them.
Well, I'm up every time. I love myself some London
What
football
West
at 9:30.
Coaster is up, at that time to watch
If
these
we have
games?
to stay up till 10 p.m., they can wake up at 6:30. That's all I'm going to
No, they
say.
cannot.
That's even. That's even. We have to stay up by the time you'd have to wake up to watch this game. So that's on you. That's not on me. But no, I think this is just I think the Eagles are somewhat like the Chiefs right now. I'm hoping they figure out their offense at some point, but right now they are really kind of vanilla, not trying to do too much, not taking many shots down the field. So a lot of people get frustrated like that. I like watching that sometimes. I like watching the offensive line work, watching defenses and things like that. But I don't know what the Bears are going to look like by that. Right now they're 0-2. Have a big game against the Cowboys this week for them. Their offense can threaten them, and I think it could turn into a really fun game. But right now, with what I've seen, I think this would more look like the first 3 quarters of that Bears-Vikings game on Monday night than what we've seen in some other games. Or it's just going to could turn into a Detroit game where it's just the Eagles running away with it.
I'm just going to completely I don't even care about the matchup. I don't have fun watching the Eagles in general right now. The tush push was abused last week, and the NFL had to come out and say, enough, we're going to start strictly monitoring it because the false start every single play last week was a little ridiculous. So, and they have weapons, and it's so frustrating when they're not used. A.J. Brown this season, I think, has 6 catches, I think, is his season total. So, he's really good. They barely use him. Devontae Smith, I think, is really talented. Barely used. They have a very good offensive line. That's not very interesting to watch. And even Saquon's really good, but it's not like he's been doing a lot because I feel like the whole time, and even Jalen Hurts didn't break 100 yards last week. So it's just getting shoved in the butt every single play. That's not a lot of fun right now. Hopefully by then we see an Eagles performance, which is great. But right now the Eagles are playing like the Chiefs last year to me, where they're like, let's win this week. Nothing more, nothing less. We don't have to destroy anyone. We don't have to, do anything crazy. Let's just get the first down and score. And then win by 1 score.
We'll say, give him some time, new offensive coordinator, see what they can do. Because he's still trying to get his feet wet, trying to figure things out. So, we'll see.
It's frustrating, Adam. I can't do it.
I
can't do it anymore. That was the best. That was my favorite pick.
They play at 1:00 this week. So, if you don't want to watch them, you don't have to. There's a bunch of other games going on. Granted,
I know the highlights of Red Zone doing every touchdown.
You don't watch games, so it's kind of hard. You just watch Red Zone. So
1:00 games are for Red Zone. The 4:00 games are for probably multi-view because you could actually keep up with them. And then, primetime games gets their own.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a fantasy football fan. I'm sorry.
I know. Now we'll go to the game of the week. Monday night. I thought about putting this on my list. Yeah, I thought it's just not a very entertaining game. Lions at Ravens. There's not many people talking about this one. But it's a big game. Obviously, battle of 1-1 teams. And I think we got to come at this and who needs the game more? These are 2 teams that both have a tough loss in week 1, bounce back in a big way in week 2. Dominating the Bears and the Browns respectively. Now they come up to match against each other. So, Chris, I'm just going to ask you straight up. Who do you think needs this game more in Baltimore?
I think the Lions need this game more. I think it's pretty clear because the Ravens are in the division with the Steelers, who are probably going to be 500. The Bengals just lost Burrow for at least 3 months, it looks like. And the Browns, who are not going to compete. So the Ravens don't have as much competition compared to the Lions, who looks like the Packers are going to run away with the division. So the Lions are competing for a wildcard spot, and there's a lot of frisky teams in the NFC. It looks like the NFC West is going to have every team, vying for a wildcard spot. So I think the Lions need this to try to secure that wildcard. The Ravens could lose this game and still go on to win their division. The Lions, they're not going to beat the Packers, I don't think. So Lions need it more. However, it's really hard to judge the Lions because week 1 they got destroyed, and week 2 they destroyed the Bears. So this is kind of like a real moment for the Lions of how good are they without Ben Johnson.
I couldn't disagree with you more.
Oh, okay.
The Ravens need this game way more. You know why? Look at the next 3 games. The Lions next week after this one, they play the Browns at home. Then they go to Cincinnati to play Jake Browning and the Bengals. And then they have to go to Kansas City. The Ravens next 3 games. Next week they go to Kansas City. They play the Texans at home and they play the Rams at home. I would say that's a tougher 3-game stretch for the Ravens than it is for the Lions. Also, I don't know if you know this, since 2018, so that's when Lamar Jackson was drafted. The Chiefs are 6-1 against the Ravens. They never lose to them. They've lost to them once, and it was 36-35. They don't lose to them. The Ravens can't beat them. So I'm thinking if the Ravens lose this game, they go to Kansas City. They don't figure that out. They lose to them. They're 1-3. And if you're 1-3,
I think the Ravens are going to beat the Chiefs, and I think the Ravens are going to beat the Texans, and I think that's 2 wins out of the next 3. Your schedule is right. I think the Ravens' schedule is a little bit harder. I will give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is you're competing for the playoff spot, and I think the Lions' path to a playoff spot, considering the competition for that spot, is harder, whereas maybe the Ravens have a tougher schedule. But I think they have a lot harder competition.
But how about this? How about the fact that, do you think the Ravens can win in Buffalo if they have to play there in an AFC championship game?
Yeah.
Well, then why haven't they done it the last 2 times it's been there? It's been right there for them to take, and they can't do it.
What I'm saying is, like, they had the chance to win both games, so it's not like they go to Buffalo and get destroyed.
But why don't they do it? Why do they always lose these games? Why can't they win them?
Listen, if you're going to talk about the Chiefs and always losing, that's fine. I'm not going to give you always losing to Buffalo.
Always losing playoff games when they have to win them. They don't win playoff games in must-win situations.
But that's not about Buffalo. That's about the Ravens.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So you think the Ravens, you're going to now take them on the road into a big playoff game and say, yep.
I think they can win those games.
Then why haven't they? What's been wrong
with
them?
Why haven't the Bills beaten the Chiefs?
Well,
I think they can. They just haven't.
The Ravens have lost to the Titans. The Ravens have lost to the Chiefs. The Ravens lost to the Bills. They lost to the Bengals. Like, they've lost to some bad teams in the playoffs.
There was no shame losing to the Bills or the Chiefs, I think. The real ones that stick out are the Derrick Henry Titans, which were a very fun running team, but not actually a great team. I'll give you that they've had bad playoff performances, but what I am saying is they can win those games. They just haven't. There's a difference. I think some teams, the Jets cannot win a playoff game in Buffalo because they suck. Yeah. The Ravens can. They just didn't. One team has to win. If the Bills lost, we'd be like, oh, the Bills can't even beat whatever. So some team has to lose, but I think both could easily win, and the games have been close. I think also the Ravens just find ways to lose games, but that's not about Buffalo. That's not being in Buffalo. That's not about the Chiefs. That's all about the Ravens at this point.
Yeah, but I'm just I'm not trusting them, and I think they need home field and need all the help they can get. They've proven that. And if they fall to 1-2, and then they go to Kansas City, and nothing changes, and they somehow lose to Kansas City again, they go to 1-3, and let's say the Bengals win this week against Minnesota, and they're I don't know who they play after Minnesota, but they're 3-0, potentially go to 4-0. The Steelers have the Patriots this week. That's a winnable game. The Steelers maybe get to 2-1 or 3-1, and you're sitting there, you're behind the 8 ball in the division, so you have to rally back to get the division. Plus, the Bills keep rattling off wins, because if you haven't looked at the Bills' schedule, they might have the easiest schedule I've ever seen in the NFL. My goodness, do they not play anybody? And all their big games are at home. So Buffalo's going to run away with the 1 seed, and then you have these teams catching up for the 2 seed, with the Chargers potentially stealing the 2 seed. Like, and the Ravens continue to fall back, and
the seeding is bad. I'll give you the seeding, but they're going to win their division.
Yeah, they might win their division.
I don't think there's a real threat. I'm not afraid of the Steelers.
What if they're the 3 seed and the Chiefs are the 6 seed? Then they have to play Kansas City in their first playoff
I'd easily pick the Ravens right now with how the Chiefs look and how the Ravens look.
That's what I would have thought, 2 years ago when they had the 1 seed and they were running away with everything. I did not think
that 2 years ago because the Chiefs were unstoppable.
I would have thought that last year when they were playing in Buffalo. I mean,
they were on last year because
Lamar had his best season ever last year.
That was also Josh's best season last year.
Yeah, but they didn't win the game because Lamar got beat by Josh.
Someone has to win, Adam.
So who's the better quarterback?
Beats the other, that doesn't mean the other team sucks. They can both be amazing.
So who's the better quarterback, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen?
I think Josh Allen, but I think it's
by a playoff game. Who would you take to win that game?
I would take the Bills, but even if it's in Baltimore, I'm taking the Bills.
They need all the help they can get, so they need to get to the 1 seed. That's what I'm trying to say. That's their path
I also think home field advantage is a little exaggerated at this point.
Oh my gosh. Chris, the home teams have won more AFC championships than they've
Mahomes
lost.
proved it wrong. Mahomes came in as the underseed and won every
You're talking
game.
about a top 3 quarterback in the history of football doing it.
I
So,
think Josh Allen and Lamar are playing just as good as Mahomes was at that point.
well, yeah, but then Mahomes went to the Super Bowl and he won again to get another one. And he had a game-winning
Sure,
drive in the fourth
but
quarter and
I
in
think
overtime. So
I
yeah,
think it's a
something
little
these guys
different
can't do.
nowadays.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see how.
So this week, who are you picking, Lions or
I'm
Ravens?
picking the Ravens to beat the Lions. Yeah,
I'm also picking the Ravens to beat
Yeah.
the Lions, but I think the Ravens are really good. I think they're better, but the Lions, I think, could actually, throw the ball this week and have a good offense. That we're going to realize they still have a good team.
Mhm.
I think last week was good to balance that. Now we're going to see the real Lions, and I hope they are a good team still.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win. The Lions, I think, are a good team, but I think I think
Week
if you
one
look
was
at,
concerning. I will
if
admit.
you look
Week
at
one was
yeah,
concerning.
but for both of them because the Ravens threw away a game. It just said here
The
you
Ravens
go.
was concerning for a different reason. The Ravens looked great.
Yeah, but I can't
Lions
say
look terrible.
I can't say the Ravens is an aberration when John Harbaugh's blown 17 double-digit leads since he's been the head coach in Baltimore.
They've
happens.
also led by 17 more than most teams.
Yeah, but I know he likes to say that, but the Chiefs had done it as much. They only lost like twice.
The Chiefs usually win a last-second field goal. But we'll move on.
I'm talking
We've
about
talked
before,
Ravens
you know,
too
when
long.
the Chiefs didn't start get boring till the last 2 years. They used to just run away with games, you know.
I miss those times.
Yeah. Now they're gonna get Tyreek Hill back probably, and then they'll be running away with it again. All right, we'll go to our upset picks this week. Chris, who do you got?
Let me see. My upset pick this week. Oh, okay. This one doesn't really make sense to me. I don't understand how. Somehow the Vikings with Carson Wentz are favored to beat the Bengals with Jake Browning. It's the battle of backup QBs, and the spread is 2.5, which isn't crazy, but I really feel like these teams are similar talent-wise. Obviously, the Vikings have better defense, but the Bengals have shown in the past with Jake Browning they're a pretty competent team. He was good with them 2 years ago when Burrow got hurt, and they were still competing. I don't know why they're acting like it's a random backup, and I think he'd be better than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has not played with the Vikings yet. So this is his first real game with the Vikings. Jake Browning's been with the Bengals for a few years. He knows the system. He knows the scheme. That's going to be a pretty similar team, the Bengals. I think the Vikings are going to have a lot to figure out with Carson Wentz. I will say Kevin O'Connell has made anyone look amazing. Joshua Dobbs looked like Lamar Jackson against the Saints a few years ago. But I do think Carson Wentz is going to struggle a little bit with his first game with the Vikings this season.
Fair. Well, I'll save my points on that till we get the game picks.
Okay.
I didn't see many upsets this week. I almost went to say, hey, there's not going to be an upset this week.
Really?
So I was looking, and I'm like, yeah, I just didn't see many. But I'm going to take the Rams to beat the Eagles. Like I said, don't see many upsets, but here's my thought. The Rams played the Philly tougher than any team in the NFL in the playoffs last year. No one played them tougher than the Rams did in Philadelphia in the snow. Now, there is the thing on the Eagles absolutely annihilated the Rams offensively. Saquon had 200 yards in both games against them last year. But the Eagles haven't shown that so far offensively. And I think the one big thing no one's talking about is, all the missed false starts they had on the tush push in the Kansas City game. First time they line up for it, they're calling it.
Yep.
Whether it is or not, they're calling something.
I
They're
agree.
throw a flag
There
and
will
back
be
them
a
up.
record number of false starts called the Eagles to prove a
Or they'll
point.
line them up for lining up offsides. They're going to back them up 5 yards, at
As
least
they
on the
should.
first one.
As they should. The tush push formation is just, it's been slowly getting worse and worse. Now it's just a big pile already before the play even starts.
Yeah, so they're going to call it, so I think it's going to back them up. They either have to punt or they're going to have to do something else on fourth down, maybe even settle for field goals, which allows the Rams back in it. So I think the Rams can find a way to win this game. They're 3.5-point underdogs. So yeah, I'm going to take the Rams. Like I said, I didn't see much this week. I didn't see any I really liked.
There were a lot of options this week, honestly.
Well, I thought there was one I was going to take because, they're the 2024 Saints. So I was thinking about taking Cam Ward.
I was not thinking about the Titans. I was thinking New England over the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers should be favored. That's in New England. I think that's a game that I was surprised the Steelers were favored. The other one I saw, Jacksonville and Houston.
Whoa. Watch it, buddy.
I think the Texans are 0-2. I think no one knows how to rate the Texans because they're really talented in some areas, but they just lack things like an offensive line. Also, the Broncos and the Chargers. The Chargers are favored. That I think could go either way. And the Bears and Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 1.5. I think that could go either way. And the Cardinals with Kyler Murray are at San Francisco. San Francisco's favored to win, but I think Brock's going to play, but we don't know for sure. So there was just a few games where I feel like they were just kind of pick'ems, and I feel like the team I like wasn't necessarily a team that was favored.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair. I just didn't see any of them winning, so I was like, who could win? I'm like, the Rams could win. They're actually a good team, so they could actually win. All right, let's get into our week picks, Chris. We'll start. It's Bengals-Vikings is the first game. You have the Bengals because that's your upset pick, correct?
I do.
I'm taking the Vikings. Here's why. You mentioned Kevin O'Connell. If he can make it work with Sam Darnold, make it work with Josh Dobbs, made it work with J.J. McCarthy for a quarter this year, he can make it work with Carson Wentz, who almost won an MVP once. Everyone kind of forgets he had that team humming before Nick Foles came in and took them to the Super Bowl. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be on time, do a lot of things Kevin O'Connell wants. So I like the Vikings here at home. They also have the better defense, so I trust their defense more than I trust Cincinnati's defense.
That's fair. I'm a little concerned with myself because I don't think there's many people higher on Kevin O'Connell than me, yet I've picked against this team every single week, so I'm really not putting my money where my mouth is. But I don't know. But I'm just going Bengals because I think Carson Wentz is going to be worse than Jake Browning. I think that's fair.
We'll see. All right, next game is Steelers-Patriots. You also kind of hinted at who you like in this one as well.
Give me the Patriots. I think Aaron Rodgers, we don't really know what he's doing yet. I think the Patriots got a lot of momentum last week. I think they're going to continue that. I think they found something on offense. I don't think the Steelers really have a consistent plan.
I'm going to take the Steelers. I think their defense finally figures it out. And also, you're really low on this team. You're low on the Raiders. You don't think they're very good. Raiders walked into New England and got a win. Geno threw for 360.
I think they're an experienced team week one, and I think the Patriots are a younger team. It was week one. I think they got the nerves out of the way.
Yeah, but hey.
And I think they found their offense week two.
I think you would take Aaron Rodgers over Geno Smith, I believe, with the way you were texting on Monday.
I think Geno Smith per game drastically changes. Week one, Geno was really good.
Yeah.
Week two, after the first pass, I was like, this is a bad Geno game. And it's not like per drive with Geno. It's for this game, he will either be one of the worst quarterbacks or pretty solid. There's no in between.
Yeah, I'll take the Steelers. I think they're the better team, and I think their offense is going to be humming a little bit this week, and I think their defense figures it out. Texans at Jags. Again, you hinted at this one, which made me a little upset, but...
Well, I knew you wouldn't pick this. I'm going to stick with the Jags. I'm just saying I could see how people would like the upset on this. I think the Texans really need to win this game, but I think the Jags know that, and I think it's a division game, so I think it's going to be tough. I don't know how the Texans are going to win when they cannot give CJ Stroud more than half a second, so I'm going to give me the Jags.
Fun stat here for this game. So there are 5 teams in the NFL that have scored 24 or more points in each of the first 2 games. Packers, Ravens, Bills. Really good teams, really good offense. The Colts, phenomenal offense right now, right? Daniel Jones is cooking. And then there's Jacksonville, who everyone seems to be complaining about their offense, that they're struggling. They continue to score over 24 points.
Brian Thomas is afraid to catch a ball.
Yeah, but he's going to be fine this week. I saw an interview with him. They're going to force feed him the ball this week, it sounds like, and it could be trouble. Plus, they're leading the league in rushing. So they're running the ball really, really well with Travis Etienne. I'm taking the Jags. I'm not picking against them in division against the Texans. Also, fun fact, I was talking about the 0-3 teams to make the playoffs. The last team to do it, the Texans, started 0-3 in 2018. They finished 11-5. So they went 11-2 after starting 0-3, which is a crazy turnaround.
How long ago was that?
2018. So it would have been Deshaun's second year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien would have been the head coach. D-Hop still would have been there. So, yeah.
When Deshaun Watson was actually good and not a terrible person, it was actually a fun Texans team. But
it all ended after 2020.
It all did.
When he decided to sit out of here. Colts, Titans.
I think some other things happened, but yes. Colts at Titans. Give me Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones. Red Zone tried calling him Indiana Jones, and I thought it was cringy. And then it seems like people liked it, so I don't really know if that's going to stick. But I think the Colts are more legit than the Saints because I think Daniel Jones actually looks good. Derek Carr, I think, was just not getting blitzed at all last year. But I think they could actually support Daniel Jones better than the Saints could have supported Derek Carr. I think, too, the Saints were still playing really good week 3, but they played the Eagles, lost, and then they got injured, honestly. They lost Rashid Shaheed. They lost Chris Olave. Derek Carr got hurt, was trying to play through it, and he was terrible. It's not like the team magically just became bad. Mm-hmm. So I think the Colts are actually going to keep it up. And the Titans, Cam Ward has shown some flashes, but give me the Colts. I don't think this one's that debatable.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts. One Why? I'm going to pick them. They're playing the Titans. They're playing anyone with a pulse. I might take them. I am a little worried about Cam Ward because all Cam Ward's highlight plays, do you notice something about him? It's everything Will Levis did last year, except it's working. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
I was
same
gonna
thing.
say the things that we would criticize a quarterback for, Cam Ward is doing,
Yeah.
but when it works, no one says anything. Across his whole body, whips it across the whole entire field, ends up being a touchdown. But Will Levis would
Plus,
try to do that, and it would be a pick six.
Shane Steichen, a much better coach, and that's going to be a big difference in this
Yep.
game as well, I think. Falcons at Panthers. Falcons coming off a big win on Sunday night in Minnesota.
That was actually one of the worst primetime games. I thought that one was gonna be really good, but it was just a field goal fest. But give me the Falcons. I am very, very down on the Panthers. I think Michael Penix is really good. I think he had a bad week too. I think he's going to bounce back. Drake London, he had a shoulder injury last week, but I think he'll be healthy. I think they're going to get more passing involved here. And Bijan is still really good.
Falcons, give me them.
Yep.
I'm with you there. I thought about taking the Panthers. I really did. I really did think about it. They're a little hot. They were down 27-3 and rallied back, man. They're hot. But no, they're
Pat
not gonna
McMillan looks awesome.
win. Yeah.
I don't see a lot of other standouts on that team.
Rams, Eagles. You know who I'm taking. I already said they're my upset pick. I didn't see much, so I took the Rams. So who do you like?
I think you're gonna get it with the spread. Like I think the Rams, will cover, but I just think that the Eagles are gonna win the game by a field goal. That just kind of seems how that team rolls. I think it's gonna be a lot like that playoff game last year where the Rams are always in it, and then the Eagles just have a nice Saquon first down, and they ice the game.
Yep, no, I'm taking the Rams. Like I said, I think they'll be able to find a way. The one thing I kept saying, the Eagles' biggest weakness right now is that second corner. They got torn a little bit late in that game. Mahomes had hit the deep ball to Thornton. But he didn't really have a consistent weapon to throw to. The Rams got two guys that are going to really exploit that with Puka and Devontae Adams. So they could definitely attack that matchup if they're able to. Matthew Stafford's going to be looking for it a lot.
Well, week one, actually, I thought George Pickens would really benefit from that, but he didn't. But CD was open a lot. He just didn't catch the ball.
Well, yeah, they actually put Quinyon Mitchell on George Pickens and let CD get guarded by Adoree Jackson, which I thought was an interesting decision by Vic Fangio. So
I think they're showing they could lock down one guy. They can't lock down a team that's a good passing attack. And as you said, the Rams do. And Stafford looks really good when he throws the ball. I'm surprised he's able to throw it with his 85 injuries that he has, and he's older. But Rams still have a good offense. I think that one could be a good matchup.
You want me to put my tinfoil hat on? He was never injured in the preseason. He just didn't want to go to workouts. He just wanted the preseason off. And I think McVay's like, yeah, we don't want you playing either, so you're good.
I don't want to come out here and say that the Rams just fake an injury just so Stafford doesn't have to do anything, but the reports were like Stafford's walking at practice today. And I'm like, was he not able to walk at
practice? They was like, he might not play. And I was like, well, he's fine.
We'll see.
Yeah. Jets, Bucks. Bucks actually have a bunch of injuries going into this one. 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen are going to be out for this game. Chris, does that give the Jets a chance?
If it was Justin Fields, you could talk me into it and I'd still pick the Bucks, but I'd be interested. Because it's Tyrod Taylor, no shot. Give me the Bucks. I think just the Bucks find ways to win games. Baker's been very clutch so far. Emeka Egbuka, he's questionable. He did not practice today. I'm a little concerned about that, but I still think with Mike Evans. Actually, if they lose Egbuka, Mike Evans will be guarded by Sauce Gardner, who's a very good corner, and then they don't really have a second receiver besides Sterling Shepard. But I think they still have a really good run game. I think give me the Bucks because I just cannot believe in that Jets offense. But I think the Bucks are kind of depleted on offense right now.
Give me the Bucks. Everyone kind of forgets Cade Otton is one of the most reliable tight ends in the NFL, and people don't really talk about him because all the receiver weapons they have, he doesn't get a lot of love. But Cade Otton's really good. So I think if they need a tight end, they'll be able to find Cade Otton if they need a weapon. Plus, Bucky Irving's a great catcher. So Bucky Irving's
Rashad White too catches passes. Really, everyone on that team could catch passes.
Yeah, Rashad White stole Bucky Irving's touchdown at the end of the
game. He did. It's funny because last year was the opposite in the beginning. Was Rashad White was catching all of them, the Bucky would come and run really well. This year now it's kind of flipped. Rashad White is the good runner and Bucky's doing all these catches.
Raiders Commanders, tricky one. Jaden Daniels questionable right now. Don't know what the situation is here. They have a lot of injuries on this Commanders team. That Thursday night game could not have gone worse for Washington, and now they're going to try to pick themselves back up.
Injured to Kirby. Adam, I feel like we should. Does your pick matter if Jalen plays or not? Does your pick change?
Maybe, but no.
Mine's gonna depend on if Jaden plays. If Jaden plays, give me the Commanders, no questions asked. If Jaden does not play, I don't want to pick Marcus Mariota. I don't want to do it.
No, I think Mariota went 1-0 last year, Chris.
What am I supposed to do here, Adam? I don't. You go first. You tell me your pick.
I'm taking the Commanders. I
All
mean,
right.
I think they're the better team.
Then I'll take the Commanders too, because if the Raiders win with Mariota, at least we'll be even.
Plus, I think they've been able to run the ball with Bill Krosky-Martin when they wanted to, and Debo's going to be able to get involved on quick screen passes and get the ball out quick with Mariota. They're not going to have to take deep shots, so I think they'll be able to get it done and make shift what they need to do.
Yeah, and also please, Raiders, listen to me. Give Genty his chance. The Commanders' defense is not that great. Let him just force feed him, see what happens, please.
It's that he has 30 carries through 2 games, which is more than Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and Bijan Robinson.
Last week, he was on the field about 57% of the time.
Okay, well, he showed he can't block, so I don't think. What do you want him to do?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I genuinely think he was done with that game. He was like, "We suck."
If that's if that's his attitude, I'd tell him to pack his bags and go back to Boise State and run for 2,000 yards and lose a playoff game again. So that's
a joke. He did not want you to get concussed. What I'm saying, but I do think he was kind of like, "I'm not getting the ball. This is ridiculous," and he was giving lackadaisical blocking effort.
Yeah, but even though he's got the ball as much as, like I said, Bijan Robinson and Christian McCaffrey did in their first 2 career games, and they were also top 10
people were
picks.
complaining about Bijan not getting the ball because Algier was stealing all of his touches. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, but guess what? Like I said, you give him the ball 30 times.
And the Falcons lost. The Falcons were losing that whole first season.
Chris, if you give him the ball 30 times for the next 3 games, he's not playing by week 12.
I disagree.
You think he would be able to consider...
He's a rookie. Give him the ball. He has fresh legs. If he was 26, that'd be different.
Chris, then he's going to be worn down by 26.
Why can't he catch passes? I don't understand. He was a receiver in high school, so why is he so bad at catching?
Boise State? I don't know what the problem is.
I just think Boise State was like, all right, he could run so well, let's just hand him the ball. But I think if he was a receiver in high school, he should be pretty good at catching passes. And he catches all of the opportunities that he's had. It's not like he's like dropping passes, It doesn't look like Derrick Henry out there.
It must be a thing because they don't let him do it, and the running backs coach loves to have running backs that catch passes because he came from Notre Dame. That's all they did.
I'll give a call to my friend, Tom, and then I'll ask him about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tom Brady, he's an owner.
Yeah.
Do you care that he's on a headset but also in production meetings?
Don't care because they don't say anything in those production meetings anyway
that's
would
what
be
I thought
valuable
too.
Information.
I thought it was funny. ESPN showed it though. Like ESPN starts their broadcast or not even criticize, but pointing out like, oh, that's weird. Like taking shot at Fox.
Everything they tell him, they're willing to tell anybody in a press conference.
Yeah, they're not telling confidential information. No. To Kevin Burkhardt being like, listen, we cannot defend slants in the middle of the field. You know what I mean? Like. They're not really giving away their secrets because then those broadcasters could say it to the whole world. I do think it's not great, but I think, I don't think it's that bad. No, I don't really think it's a big scandal.
People are reacting. Plus, if he's getting involved in that game plan that Chip Kelly threw out there on Monday night, then maybe they got to take him off the headsets.
If they beat the Chargers, maybe I'd buy it.
Yeah, but no, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I've sat in production meetings that you don't learn game-changing information in production meetings that you can't find just watching film. Packers-Browns, do it. Take Joe Flacco. Do it.
I'm going to take the Packers in every single Eliminator challenge I can.
Yep, me too. Packers win. Michael
Do we think Flacco gets benched soon? Because didn't Dylan Gabriel come in at the end of the last game?
Yeah, because it was a blowout. I don't know. I think they still want to wait a little bit. I don't think they want that long
of a runway.
What are they
waiting for?
I just don't think they want that long of a runway for the rookies. I just think because if it goes bad with Dylan Gabriel, then you go to Shadur. If it goes bad with Shadur, then what do you do? Like then you're kind of stuck.
See. Hold on, Browns schedule. Obviously, this week you're not.
They play the Lions next week.
Definitely not.
You're not throwing them into the Wolves to that game.
Then it's Minnesota.
That's defense. Brian Flores would eat them up.
Then it's the Steelers. I think it would be Miami, which is week 7, and then the Patriots, then the Jets.
So I think that's fair because you give Dylan Gabriel 4 games no matter what, and then if it's not working, you go to Shadur, and if that's not working, you'll be at the end of the season anyway. So
I think week 7 we'll see Flacco fade out.
Probably, I would expect that. Broncos Chargers in LA. The Chargers are 2-0. Broncos coming off that tough loss that cost you money, Chris, and you said you were out on them, but you then said they were going to be good in one of our future picks. So
this is really tough, and I think I said home field doesn't really matter that much.
Doesn't matter at SoFi.
It definitely does not matter for the Chargers. I don't think they have any fans that show up to the game. And it's tough because I think the Broncos kind of need this game to get the wild card spot, but I think the Chargers are really in a groove right now. It's weird. I feel like the Chargers scored 40 against the Raiders, but it was like 20 to whatever, like the whole
20 to
game.
9. 20 to 9.
29. I'm concerned that Herbert's running a lot. The offensive line looks good, but not great. I'm a little concerned, but I think the Chargers defense is really in a groove right now. I'm a little concerned about Khalil Mack, but whatever. Give me the Chargers. So I'm just making points, but give me the Chargers. So I'll just make a pick and hope it's right.
You know who I'm picking. I'm not picking against. I'm not picking the Broncos. Give me the Chargers. They're going to win this game. They're the better team. They have the better quarterback. The Broncos defense is really good, but I think, Justin Herbert's going to find a way to get it done.
We should make a Broncos short every week just for the fans
no,
out there.
I'm not doing it. But
I'll
no,
do it.
we didn't even say anything about him this week.
I know. I said, if there was a, time to sell, but
Saints, Seahawks. Chris, it's your time. This is the time they get it done for you.
I picked them last week and you talked me into it. I'm not doing it again. I will say, this spread is ridiculous.
What is the spread for this game?
I believe it was 7.5 last I checked. Let me check again.
Too high?
Huh?
Too high?
Yeah, the Saints look good. Like, they genuinely look like
At
a
home.
competent football team. Sam Darnold is due for one terrible pass a game. Spencer Rattler is not losing you games like I thought he would. He's tremendously improved from last year. And I think Seahawks favored by 7.5. Why?
Why do you
The Saints have a decent
defense? That would be a
defense.
guaranteed cover.
I would take the Saints if it was based on the spread. Just to win, give me the Seahawks. But 7.5's a little much, guys. I'm a little concerned about that. I wouldn't even pick them for an eliminator pool because Sam Darnold. Don't feel great about that.
I think Spencer Rattler, he's either now 0-7 or 0-8 as a starter. How long are they going to let that run? Like, are they going to let him get to like?
He's playing well. I don't think
But if they keep losing, are you going to let Spencer Rattler be the kid everyone says, who did the quarterback that most losses before their first career win? And it's going to be Spencer Rattler at Owen whatever.
I don't care about that. I think right now they want to lose. I'm fine with that. But Spencer Rattler is throwing the ball quickly. They have a decent offensive line. He's getting the ball to Chris Olave a ton. And Rashid Shaheed. The team looks good. Kamara's getting checkdowns and running well. Like, they're just not winning the game. But that's kind of perfect. They're showing life. Rattler had 214 passing yards week 1, 207 week 2. He's out throwing Jalen Hurts by a mile. I don't see what's wrong with that.
But here's the question: you drafted Tyler Shuck in the second round. Are you just going to let him sit and never find out what he is, and then draft another quarterback this year and be like?
I think they're seeing what Tyler Shuck is, and I think isn't Rattler younger than him?
I don't know. He might be, but
I think Rattler is younger because Shuck was the
Shuck
oldest.
was in college for a long time. Yeah. But it's also if you always want to go with Rattler, why'd you draft a kid in the second round?
I think Rattler was terrible last year. Yeah, Rattler is 24. Shuck is 25. So Rattler, I think, also was a higher ranked prospect and everything. They saw a whole training camp and preseason with Shuck and Rattler. They liked Rattler more for a reason. If it gives you a reason not to play him, don't play him. But it's not like Shuck was letting it up, or else he would have gotten the starting job.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an interesting conversation that you're gonna basically throw away a second round pick if you don't see what he is.
It's fine by me. If he's looking bad in practice to the point where he lost the job to Spencer Rattler, then clearly he's not amazing. I also think picking him in the second round was stupid, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but the GM and coach have to justify it at some point.
I think Kellen Moore didn't really know what he had with Rattler, and I think he wanted a QB battle, and I just think he was like, okay, Rattler's better, but then it does suck that you now have a second round pick that you're probably not going to play for most of the year.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see. Like I said, though, it's going to be really bad for the kid if he gets to 0-20, because then no one's ever going to say he's going to be a viable starter, even if he is playing well.
I think the Saints are going to win a game soon. They are playing. They play the Bills week 5, which are week 4. Yeah. Giants week 5, I think is possible. Patriots week 6 is possible. Bears week 7 is possible. No.
I mean, they played the
Panthers
Panthers twice, so they're going to win one of those games, you'd think. No, they're not going to 0-17. It's just how long do you let it go until they say, maybe we'll try the other kid out, just see what happens.
I'm just going to say let's cool off in the Spencer Rattler. I think he's playing well.
I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying facts on what his record is.
There should be no question about who the starter's going to be in New Orleans for right now.
All right. Cardinals-Niners. Undefeated Cardinals, undefeated Niners. Don't know who's playing quarterback, Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. Even though Mac Jones looked better than Brock Purdy did week 1, but Mac Jones looked better week 2. So
I think the Seahawks defense is a little bit better than the Saints.
Maybe a little bit.
This one's tough because we don't know if Purdy's playing. I'm gonna assume Purdy's playing, but even if he's not, I know I like the Cardinals. I love Kyler Murray, but actually he's kind of bothering me lately. Give me the Niners. Mac Jones is honestly pretty similar to Brock Purdy, like as they play, and Shanahan is like, all right, plug this guy into my system, it'll work. I think they just have a good offense either way. He was a little shaky at first, but then he kind of calmed down and he was pretty good against the Saints. I'm not really concerned about the Niners with Mac Jones.
Shanahan always wanted Mac Jones if you ask people. That's who everyone
True.
thought they were trading up for in that draft.
I
And
think that's who they
ended up drafting
initially
Trey
traded
Lance.
up for. Then they ended up changing their mind, and I think the
Mhm.
owner
They
wanted
wanted
Trey
more
Lance.
upside with Trey Lance, I thought. But
That didn't
nah,
work.
give me the Niners. Don't matter who's playing quarterback. Mac Jones can win good games, especially in that offense with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he'll find ways to win, and Shanahan's a good coach. Cowboys Bears in Chicago.
This one's really tough because the Cowboys are actually a lot of fun to watch right now with that offense, but their defense is truly terrible. You know what? Caleb's not bad against. It's not like Caleb's play varies against the defense. Caleb just can't hit open guys, so I'm gonna take the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys too. I mean, the
Huh.
Bears defense just gave up 52, and the Cowboys offense has looked really good through 2 weeks. So I don't think
I
they're
think
slowing down.
to be fair to the Bears, the Lions were clearly trying to make a statement.
Okay, the last 5 quarters of Bears football, going back to the fourth quarter against Minnesota, it's not
Hasn't
been
looked
pretty.
good.
No, and the Cowboys' offense has been humming this season. So, give me the boys to win that one. Dak's playing really well. Chiefs Giants. Are you gonna take the Chiefs to fall to 0-3?
Because they have a hard matchup week 4 against the Ravens, you said, I believe.
Yeah.
This is truly a must-win game because I think they could very easily lose week 4 to the Ravens, so you can't go 0-4. You could maybe be 1-3. You cannot be 0-4. They're going to give it everything they have this week. I think Xavier Worthy should play. Even if he doesn't, give me the Chiefs. I think Russ had one of his best games he's ever going to have as a Giant. I don't think he could replicate that. I think it's not the safest pick this week, but I would take the Chiefs.
Yep. With you. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm not going to pick against them. They're still my Super Bowl pick. I'm not backing off yet. And if they lose to the Giants, they're not making the playoffs. I'll say
Yeah.
it. And if you can't beat the Giants, you're not a playoff team. It's that simple. So, yeah, enough said. And then Monday night, Lions Ravens. We both have the Ravens. We already said that during our game of the week pick. Should be a fun week. There's some really fun games, some big playoff rematches. Next week is loaded. If you haven't looked at next week, it is loaded from the Ryder Cup, great college football, and then you look at the NFL. Your first London game, Vikings Steelers. That's going to be wild just because it's Vikings Steelers in London. You know, something crazy is going to happen. It's a London game. You have Eagles Bucks. The Eagles never win in Tampa. That'll be a fun game. You have Jags Niners, maybe a Mac Jones Trevor Lawrence matchup. Now the leave Brock on the bench so we can see.
I think Brock will come back.
Probably, but where's the fun in that? Ravens Chiefs are next week. Sunday Night Football. Mike has returned to Big D to play the Cowboys.
That's exciting.
And then Monday night we have the rematch of what was one of the best games of the year last year in Bengals Broncos. Might be a little different this year with some different faces, but
yeah. And then I believe it's next Wednesday. So what is that? 5 days from now, we're gonna do the Ryder Cup preview.
Yep. We are going to be doing a special Ryder Cup preview because I love golf and I'm really worried about my Americans as at Bethpage Black because Europe's loaded, guys. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But now we got the horses. We're here. This is a home soil. Now I'll save that all for the Ryder Cup episode. But that's going to do it here, Chris. You got anything you want to add? Is there anyone you're looking at? You know, you're a big fantasy football guys, or anyone you're looking at to start this week? I know I'm starting Caleb Williams at quarterback in a couple leagues because they're playing the Cowboys. I think it might be a shootout.
I'm at the point where I hate every single one of my teams because usually at this point I'm great week 1 and I'm terrible week 2. And this is when you find out, is your team actually good or are they bad? And this is a very important week for me. No, I'm scared. I drafted a lot of rookies this year, and that was one of my warnings was to not do that.
Yeah.
And Mek Egbuka has worked out. The running backs have definitely not. Usually the running backs come out and they usually get a lot of catches and a lot of workload, but that is not really happening so far. O'Marion Hampton makes about one crucial mistake a game that gets him done for the rest of the game, touch-wise. Trevion Henderson was really good week 1 when he played. He didn't get a ton of touches. Week 2, barely used him. Ramondre Stevenson looked great, and Antonio Gibson was out touching Trevion Henderson. And Genty, we talked about. He seems like he's annoyed he's not getting the ball, and then his attitude's probably only going to make it worse. So,
Yeah.
panic zone for the rookies.
Yeah, it hasn't looked good. Tyler Warren's been phenomenal, though. I'll shout him out.
Luckily,
Rookie of the week.
That rookie I do have, and he's been great.
Yeah,
Get him in the end zone. Stop having Daniel Jones take those tush pushes. Give it to Tyler Warren.
Yeah. Shane Steichen was one of the he helped make the tush push. He was the offensive coordinator in Philly when they started.
But guess what?
You
know who'd be better at the tush push? Tyler Warren. Also,
he's
Jonathan Taylor's having maybe his best season, and he probably should have 3 extra touchdowns if they didn't do the tush push.
Well, maybe not as bad. He had the 1 year where he was unreal.
Yes, but I think Jonathan Taylor as a pass catcher has been even better, and I think when he's touched the ball running-wise, he's been just as good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been really, really good. I'm not going to say he had like a 5 touchdown game against Buffalo a couple years ago. Like he's had some crazy years. But he looks healthy, which is good for them.
I think he's looked just as good as ever. And with Daniel Jones just doing little dump offs. And listen, I was listening to a podcast and Saquon was raving about Daniel Jones, about how good he is.
He loves him. They're good friends.
Yeah, and like if Saquon's saying like he had no weapons, the O-line was terrible, well, this is the best situation Daniel Jones has been in. And I think we're seeing I think it's more legit than we'd think of Daniel Jones. I don't think it's going to be a Saints 2024. I think it's going to be one of these Geno Smith type of deals where this quarterback fails at one spot and gets rejuvenated somewhere else in the right situation.
See, I'm going to continue to say they're Saints 2024 only because they should be 1-1. They lost the game, but a leverage penalty got them to 2-0. So
that is true.
They should be 1-1. The Broncos handed them one. So and they're going to win this week. Like the Broncos are going to win. I mean, not the Broncos. The Colts are going to beat the Titans most likely. But I don't know after that. The schedule gets tougher. They got to play the Texans twice. They never win in Duval. They'll probably beat them when they go to Indy. Jacksonville rarely wins in Indy, and Indy never wins in Duval. It's a weird thing they do down there. They always find a way to split. But no, there's more hope, especially because Daniel Jones has Tyler Warren, and I'm always going to love my boy. So I'm never going to root against him. But that's going to do it here for this week's episode. It's been fun. We wanted to do this a little quicker, but the draft went a little long, and picks obviously take some time. But
the Lions-Ravens debate really got us.
I know, yeah.
Every week
something gets us. But now we'll be back at it on Monday, recapping the great weekend that we expect to have and hope to have this weekend in the National Football League. For my partner, Chris Reynolds, I am Adam Sheets, and thank you for listening.